Today we're continuing to read The Pilgrim's Progress. Then I saw in my dream that the shepherds had them to another place in a bottom, where was a door on the side of a hill. And they opened the door and bid them look in. They looked in, therefore, and saw that within it was very dark and smoky. They also thought that they heard there a rumbling noise, as of fire, and a cry of some tormented, and that they smelt the scent of brimstone. Then said Christian, "What means this?" The shepherds told them, "This is a byway to hell, a way that hypocrites go in at, namely such as sell their birthright with Esau, such as sell their master with Judas, such as blaspheme the gospel with Alexander, and that lie and deceive with Ananias and Sapphira his wife." Then said Hopeful to the shepherds, "I perceive that these had on them, even every one, a show of pilgrimage, as we have now, have they not?" "Yes, and held it a long time too." How far might they go on in pilgrimage in their day, since they, notwithstanding, were thus miserably cast away? Some further, and some not so far as these mountains. Then said the pilgrims one to another, "We have need to cry to the strong for strength." "Aye, and you will have need to use it when you have it too." By this time the pilgrims had a desire to go forward, and the shepherds a desire they should. So they walked together towards the end of the mountains. Then said the shepherds one to another, "Let us here show to the pilgrims the gate of the celestial city, if they have skill to look through our perspective glass." The pilgrims then lovingly accepted the motion. So they had them to the top of a high hill called Clear, and gave them their glass to look. Then they tried to look, but the remembrance of that last thing that the shepherds had showed them made their hands shake, by means of which hindrance they could not look steadily through the glass. Yet they thought they saw something like the gate, and also some of the glory of the place. Thus they went away and sang this song. Thus by the shepherds secrets are revealed, which from all other men are kept concealed. Come to the shepherds then, if you would see things deep, things hid, and that mysterious be. When they were about to depart, one of the shepherds gave them a note of the way. Another of them bid them beware of the flatterer. The third bid them take heed that they slept not upon the enchanted ground. And the fourth bid them Godspeed. So I awoke from my dream. Now we're at chapter 9. And I slept and dreamed again, and saw the same two pilgrims going down the mountains along the highway towards the city. Now a little below these mountains, on the left hand, lieth the country of Conceit, from which country there comes into the way in which the pilgrims walked a little crooked lane. Here therefore they met with a very brisk lad that came out of that country, and his name was Ignorance. So Christian asked him from what parts he came, and whither he was going. "Sir, I was born in the country that lieth off there a little on the left hand, and I am going to the celestial city." "But how do you think to get in at the gate? For you may find some difficulty there." as other people do. But what have you to show at the gate that may cause that the gate should be opened to you? I know my Lord's will, and have been a good liver. I pay every man his own. I pray, fast, pay money to the church, and give to the poor, and have left my country for whither I am going. But thou camest not in at the wicket gate, that is at the head of this way. Thou camest in hither through that same crooked lane. And therefore I fear, however thou mayest think of thyself, when the reckoning day shall come, thou wilt have laid to thy charge that thou art a thief and a robber, instead of getting admittance into the city. Gentlemen, ye be utter strangers to me. I know you not. Be content to follow the custom of your country, and I will follow the custom of mine. I hope all will be well. And as for the gate that you talk of, all the world knows that that is a great way off of our country. I cannot think that any man in all our parts doth so much as know the way to it, nor need they matter whether they do or no, since we have, as you see, a fine, pleasant green lane that comes down from our country, the next way into the way. When Christian saw that the man was wise in his own opinion, he said to Hopeful, whisperingly, there is more hope of a fool than of him, and said moreover, when he that is a fool walketh by the way, his wisdom faileth him, and he saith to every one that he is a fool. What, shall we talk further with him, or outgo him at present, and so leave him to think of what he hath heard already, and then stop again for him afterwards, and see if by degrees we can do any good to him? Then said Hopeful, let ignorance a little while now muse on what is said, and let him not refuse good counsel to embrace, lest he remain still ignorant of what's the chiefest gain. God saith, those that no understanding have, although he made them he will not save. He further added, it is not good, I think, to say all to him at once. Let us pass him by, if you will, and talk to him by and by, even as he is able to bear it. So they both went on, and ignorance he came after. Now, when they had passed him a little way, they entered into a very dark lane, where they met a man whom 7 devils had bound with 7 strong cords, and were carrying of him back to the door that they saw on the side of the hill. Now good Christian began to tremble, and so did Hopeful his companion. Yet, as the devils led away the man, Christian looked to see if he knew him, and he thought it might be one Turnaway that dwelt in the town of Apostasy. But he did not perfectly see his face, for he did hang his head like a thief that is found. But being gone past, Hopeful looked after him, and espied on his back a paper with this inscription: one who was wicked while claiming to be good, and turned away from God. Then said Christian to his fellow, now I call to remembrance that which was told of a thing that happened to a good man hereabout. The name of that man was Little Faith, but a good man, and dwelt in the town of Sincere. The thing was this: at the entering in at this passage, there comes down from Broadway gate a lane called Dead Man's Lane, so called because of the murders that are commonly done there. And this Little Faith, going on pilgrimage as we do now, chanced to sit down there and slept. Now there happened at that time to come down that lane from Broadway gate 3 sturdy rogues, and their names were Faint Heart, Mistrust, and Guilt. These, 3 brothers, and they, espying little Faith where he was, came galloping up with speed. Now the good man was just awaked from his sleep, and was getting up to go on his journey. So they came up all to him, and with threatening language bid him stand. At this, little Faith looked as white as a sheet, and had neither power to fight nor fly. Then said Faint-Heart, Deliver thy purse. But he, making no haste to do it, for he was loth to lose his money, Mistrust ran up to him, and, thrusting his hand into his pocket, pulled out thence a bag of silver. Then he cried out, Thieves, thieves! With that Guilt, with a great club that was in his hand, struck little Faith on the head, and with that blow felled him flat to the ground, where he lay bleeding as one that would bleed to death. All this while the thieves stood by, but at last they hearing that some were upon the road, and fearing lest they should be one great grace that dwells in the city of good confidence, they betook themselves to their heels, and left this good man to shift for himself. Now, after a while, little Faith came to himself, and, getting up, made shift to scramble on his way. This was the story. But did they take from him all that ever he had? No, the place where his jewels were they never ransacked, so those he kept still. But as I was told, the good man was much afflicted for his loss, for the thieves got most of his spending money. That which they got not, as I said, were jewels. Also he had a little odd money left, but scarce enough to bring him to his journey's end. Nay, if I was not misinformed, he was forced to beg as he went, to keep himself alive, for his jewels he might not sell, but beg and do what he could. He went, as we say, often often with a hungry stomach, the most part of the rest of the way. But is it not a wonder they got not from him his certificate by which he was to receive admission at the celestial gate? It is a wonder, but they got not that, though they missed it, not through any cunning of his, for he, being dismayed by their coming upon him, had neither power nor skill to hide anything. So it was more by good providence than by his endeavor that they missed of that good thing. But it must needs be a comfort to him that they got not his jewels from him. It might have been great comfort to him had he used it as he should, but they that told me the story said that he made but little use of it all the rest of the way, and that because of the alarm that he had in their taking away his money, indeed he forgot it a great part of the rest of his journey. And besides, when at any time it came into his mind, and he began to be comforted therewith, then would fresh thoughts of his loss come again upon him, and those thoughts would swallow up all. Alas, poor man, this could not but be a great grief unto him. And that's the end of the reading for today. Have a good day.